enhance this. You need to empower your intelligence and enhance your competence. This is what you need to do. This is what education is about, this is what life is about. But unfortunately, you think education is about passing an examination. Education is not about passing an examination. Education is about learning. It looks like the world has forgotten about this.
Another point about the mentality when it comes to exams. Exams are hard. Exams take a lot of time to study for and it can be stressful. But the truth is, after I've spent a couple of weeks preparing for an exam, I know that I've studied my best. I've put in the hours and I've put in the effort. If a bunch of questions come up that I've never seen the material for before, that's life. And if I don't do so well, that's okay. I've already done everything that I can in my power to put myself in the best position to do well. If I don't end up doing well, that doesn't mean that it wasn't worth it, all the work that I put in, and that doesn't mean that I didn't make the right decisions when I was studying. That mentality of knowing that you're doing what you can, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the work, is what helps me de-stress and not worry about upcoming exams. So when we have an exam at the end of the year or at the end of a semester, we'll usually have somewhere between 1 to 3 weeks off from school in order to study. During that time, of course, I study very, very hard and I do a lot of work. However, in reality, I've actually been working towards studying for this exam from the very beginning of that school year, and that's because I take my notes every single day. Whether that's for lectures, tutorials, workshops, whatever it is, every day I put in a small amount of work. So for example, today I have 5 lectures scheduled, and that means by either today or tomorrow I will have written all of my notes for those 5 lectures. So when it comes exam time in December, all I have to do is read them, learn them, memorize them, and I don't have to start from scratch writing those notes or learning that material because I already did it a couple of months ago in September. I will have already seen all of the material that's going to be tested at least once. So when you're reading it again, it's almost like a second read through. It's like you're building on the foundation of knowledge that you already have. Secondly, around exam time in those 1 to 3 weeks that we have off in order to prepare for exams, I really do put in the work. Of course, I still maintain a balanced life by going to the gym, doing exercise, seeing my friends, etc. But here the priority is studying for my exams. And during this period, I always study for the exact same number of hours and I always study with the exact same routine. I set myself a goal of 8 hours of studying in a day. I wake up at 7, I'm at the library and I start studying at 9. I study from 9 till 1, take a 2-hour lunch break and chill break from 1 till 3, study again from 3 till 7. Now following this, or if I'm still in the studying mood and I feel like I can do more, I'll take a 1-hour break from 7 till 8 and then study from 8 till 9 or 8 till 10 depending on how I'm feeling or how close I am to the exam or how much material there is left, etc. So this structure that I have, this consistency that I have when it comes to studying for exams is something that's very, very beneficial. It's almost like a guaranteed fact of life that I know around exam time, this is the routine that I'm going to have and this is how much studying I'm going to do.
For one who is unwavering in his intention, for him, liberation cannot be denied. The only reason most of the humanity goes about their life, blundering through their life, not knowing which way to go, is because they keep shifting the direction of their life too often. They may not actually change the direction of their life, but in their mind and emotion, it keeps shifting and shifting and shifting and shifting. The very nature of the existence is such today it is also a scientific fact, but this is the experience of every yogi, that in this existence, there is energy and there's consciousness. There is no such thing as physical matter. Physical matter, as you know it today, is just concentrated patterns of energy. Today, this is established science. But more than 40,000 years ago, when Shiva spoke, he spoke clearly. His involvement was in absolute consciousness or in the energy, never in the physical matter, because he did not see it as real. And he spoke thus, very clearly, without any ambiguity about it. Do you see somebody is waiting for someone they badly want to see? Only 10 minutes. In the 10 minutes, they will look at the watch 25 times. Why? They want to prepone it. You're doing something that you don't want to do, so you want to postpone it. I'm asking, why the hell are you doing something that you don't want to do? No, because if I do this, I will get that, I will get that. That's not the point. There's nothing to get in this life. There's really nothing to get in this life. Either you lived this life in a profound and intense manner, or you did not. What will you get in the end? Huh? Only thing is the process of life. How wonderfully did you live? That's all there is. So if you are doing something really wonderful, do you want to prepone it or postpone it? Prepone it. So you must find what is it that you really want to do. If you find that one thing, you will always prepone everything, not postpone.
Here, when you started your company, you wanted to make just enough money to stay broke, right? I mean, who wants that, right? Nobody wants that. So this guy messages me on Twitter and he says, you know, you sure talk about money a lot. You talk about money a lot in your tweets. You talk about money in your all your social media. I said, man, this guy's really following me here. I mean, but that's great. So that's great. But he says, you know, money won't make you happy. And I said to him, well, you know, not making money won't make you happy either, right? I've tried being broke and busted. It was a disaster of an experiment. Wouldn't you agree? Hey, how many have been broke, right? How many know that having money is better than not having money, right? Yeah, right? I mean, that's a given, right? How many know that this is a prospecting tool, your phone, right? I mean, this is, if you're still doing business like it's 2009 in a 2016 world, things need to change, okay? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna shoot this. Take a picture. All right, let's see how long this takes. Let's see how long this takes. Conigliaro. Now watch this. How long did that take? A few seconds, right? 87,000 people, plus or minus, are going to see that tweet today. Okay, you want to be everywhere. You want to take massive amounts of action. Okay, it's not enough to just say, well, people in my little town know about me. No, you want people everywhere talking about you. Today I want to talk about taking massive amounts of action. Okay, there's 4 quadrants when it comes to taking massive amounts of action. The first quadrant is no action. How many of you guys know no action? Right? I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to make any phone calls. I'm going to wait for all the business to come to me. I'm really not going to do anything to put myself out there. I'm just going to wait for it all to come to me. How many of you know no action? How many of you know people that take no action? And then they complain that business isn't coming to them, right? I like to call that taking massive amounts of action, but towards the negative, right? You know, everybody's taking massive amounts of action, but some people don't do anything with it. Here's the second thing. Second quadrant is taking a normal amount of action. Okay, that's just kind of going through the motions, showing up to work. Oh, I work 9 to 5. I'll call this customer if I have to. You know, normal amounts of action. How many of you been there? How many ever feel like that? I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Third quadrant is taking average amounts of action. Now this is interesting because it kind of gets a little subjective here. What do I mean by taking average amounts of action? Okay, what I mean is whatever I think or whatever you think your market's doing, the guys that are in your industry that you're competing against day in and day out, you're thinking, I'm probably going to take the same amount of activity towards my business as they do. So we're going to call that average. Now, why? Now, who here wants to compete with their competition? Who wants to compete? Do you want to compete or do you want to dominate? We want to dominate, right? We want to crush it, right? You know, you got to take pictures with your customers. Take your picture with your arm around your customer, saying this. Send them the link to your Facebook page. Send them the link to your Twitter account. Then they're going to start following you. Then all of a sudden they get hooked on you, right? You want to keep your customers addicted to you. They're like, hey, I just text my customers every now and again saying, hey, we just put up a new car gallery. Maybe your car is on. Maybe a picture of your car is. You know, 9 times out of 10, it's not their car. But they're like, oh, maybe he's got a picture of my car. You know, because these people, they love their cars, right? They wouldn't hire us if they didn't love their vehicles. So they feel like, hey, they're part of your show, right? Keeping your customers addicted to it's huge. How many of you know that you got to cut through all the noise? This is a noisy world, right? You got to cut through all that noise. I know some guy says to me about 3 weeks ago, we were doing one of these. This guy says to me,
"There's nothing you cannot be, there's nothing you cannot do, there's nothing you cannot have." You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. Who could reject such wondrous magnificence? But you do not know who you are, and you think you are a great deal less. I tell you this, you are your own rule maker. You set the guidelines, and you decide how well you have done, how well you are doing. For you are the one who has decided who and what you really are, and who you want to be. And you are the only one who can assess how well you're doing. All you see in your world is the outcome of your idea about it. Do you want your life to truly take off? Life will take off for you then, when you choose for it to.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide.
You have not so chosen as yet. You have procrastinated, prolonged, protracted, protested. Now it's time that you promulgated and produced what you have been promised.
What it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide.
Your world would not be in its present condition were you to have simply listened to your experience. The result of your not listening to your experience is that you keep reliving it over and over again. You cannot resist something to which you grant no reality. The act of resisting a thing is the act of granting it life. When you resist an energy, you place it there.
You attract not just what you feel, you attract what you feel, what you are.
The more you resist, the more you make it real, whatever it is you're resisting. What you open your eyes to look at disappears. That is, it ceases to hold its illusory form. If you look at something, truly look at it, you will see right through it, and right through any illusion it holds for you, leaving nothing but ultimate reality in your sight. In the face of ultimate reality, your puny illusion has no power. It cannot long hold you in its weakening grip. You see the truth of it, and the truth sets you free. Only when you say, "I did this," can you find the power to change it. It is much easier to change what you are doing than to change what another is doing. The first step in changing anything is to know and accept that you have chosen it to be what it is. You are always in the process of creating, every moment, every minute, every day. How you can create we'll go into later. For now, just take my word for it. You are a big creation machine, and you are turning out a new manifestation literally as fast as you can think.
We really do paint our world with our thoughts and our level of self-belief.
You are a threefold being. You consist of body, mind, and spirit. You could also call these the physical, the non-physical, and the metaphysical. The process of creation starts with thought, an idea, conception, visualization.
If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Everything you see was once someone's idea. Nothing exists in your world that did not first exist as pure thought.
If you have a clear picture in your head of something is going to happen, a clear belief in that it will happen no matter what.
Thought is the first level of creation.
If you can see it here,
Next comes the word.
and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen.
Everything you say is a thought expressed. It is creative and sends forth creative energy into the universe.
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe. And I put it in my wallet and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff. But then just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on Dumb and Dumber.
Next comes action. Actions are words moving. Words are thoughts expressed. Thoughts are ideas formed.
Visualization works if you work hard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't just visualize and then, go eat a sandwich.
Go first to your highest thought about yourself. Imagine the you that you would be if you lived that thought every day. Imagine what you would think, do, and say, and how you would respond to what others do and say.
Every second of every day I was daydreaming.
Put the new car up on your mirror. Put the weight you want to be on the refrigerator. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
So, do you want your life to take off? Begin at once to imagine it the way you want it to be, and move into that. Check every thought, word, and action that does not fall into harmony with that. Move away from those. When you have a thought that is not in alignment with your higher vision, change to a new thought, then and there. When you say a thing that is out of alignment with your grandest idea, make a note not to say something like that again. When you do a thing that is misaligned with your best intention, decide to make that the last time. And make it right with whomever was involved if you can.
I stayed true to my dreams, and by doing that, eventually it came true.
This will require tremendous mental and physical effort. It will entail constant, moment-to-moment monitoring of your every thought, word, and deed. It will involve continued choice-making, consciously. This whole process is a massive move to consciousness. What you will find out if you undertake this challenge is that you've spent half your life unconscious. That is to say, unaware on a conscious level of what you are choosing in the way of thoughts, words, and deeds until you experience the aftermath of them. Then when you experience these results, you deny that your thoughts, words, and deeds had anything to do with them.
I want to remind you to continue to dream and dream big.
What dream or vision do you want to turn into reality?
There is nothing you cannot be, there's nothing you cannot do, there's nothing you cannot have.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is. If you're going to try, go all the way.
How many of you in the school this year, you have either, you've heard, you've seen, but somebody in this school, not you, but you have seen or heard a classmate talking about or entertaining the idea, and I need you to be honest. How many of you in this school this year, you have heard one of your classmates talking about or pondering the idea of maybe committing suicide and ending your life? Raise your hand. Hold those hands high. Hold them high. Because every one of those hands right now represents a heartbeat in this school. Every one of your hands represents a young man and a young lady in here that has been contemplating maybe giving up's an option. Maybe they feel like life's just too difficult and too tough, and they feel alone and they feel isolated, and they've seen it on social media and they've seen it on TV, and they've got the idea that maybe I should just end my life. And I see tears and I see the emotions because I know it's real. And I want all of you that pick on kids and how you treat people and how you are tearing people down, you need to realize how you are treating us is causing some of us to think that possibly ending our life is a solution. Your words hurt us. And you know what the truth is? A lot of you wear masks and you treat people a certain way. But the truth is you hide behind your mask because you probably have battled suicidal thoughts yourself. And so you mask it and you act like your skin's thick. But really on the inside, there's times you feel alone and feel abandoned. And I hear the tears, man. All of you listen to me, young men and young lady that's in this school right now. Any of you that have been contemplating and you've actually thought about maybe I should just end my life, I would be the very first one to look at you face to face and tell you very boldly but very matter-of-factly, don't you dare die. Don't you dare believe the lie that ending your life, don't you dare believe the lie that ending your life is any answer or any solution, because inside of every single one of you that have been contemplating, maybe I'm alone and I'm isolated and nobody cares about me and I feel alone, is a lie. You are not alone. You are not by yourself. There are people and friends and family and teachers, people here that believe about you. And if you end your life, and I know this is painful and it's wrong, the emotion is here, but these are real issues that you and I and we are struggling with, and you need to understand, every one of you that have been contemplating and even embracing or entertaining the idea, you need to know inside of every one of you is something so special and so great. And if you rob yourself of what you were destined to be, if you and listen, you know why I talk about suicide? I talk about suicide not because I read books about it, because I wanted to talk about it. I didn't want to get educated about suicide, so I wanted to learn about it. I talk about it because I know when those kids, how they treated me and the words they used to say to me. I know what it was like when I was living with my sister and she went to work and I climbed up into the garage when she was gone and I climbed that ladder and I grabbed that rope. I know what it's like to be on the brink. And I'm telling all of you in here, young men and young ladies that have been battling some of these thoughts, it's a lie. Look at me. And I can spot out many of you that I know that these are the thoughts that you've battled with this year. They're lies. Don't you dare rob you of what you're born to be. Listen, you're not alone. There are many of us that battle these same thoughts, these same pains, these same struggles. But inside of every one of you, I promise you, if you believe the lie and actually try to take your own life out, you're robbing this community, this school, your family, and you're robbing yourself of what you were destined to be. Because inside of all of you who are battling the ideas of giving up on life, you're robbing. Some of you are born to be doctors and scientists and teachers and entertainers and musicians and radiologists and social workers, counselors. Some of you are born and destined to do amazing things that can impact and change this world. And if you believe the lie and you let the life and the world try to take you out, you are robbing us of what you were born and destined to be. Listen, my little girl, I have a little girl that's 18 months. In the future, she could get sick and have some disease. And maybe you're the one that's born and destined to create the cure. And if you end your life and you rob us of what you were born to be, I need you. And those next to you need you. You're not alone. Don't believe those whispers and don't entertain those thoughts.
Rise up, people. Rise up with a full heart. Rise up with an understanding. Rise up from the excuses. Rise up with the willpower. And understand that it's up to you to make a difference. Sometimes it gets tough. Sometimes you get to a point where you don't want to push yourself. Pushing the world is just a part of it. And sometimes the world can be very nasty. It can put you in a position where you don't understand what to do next. But I'm here to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, everything starts with you. Everything necessarily is not about you, but it definitely starts with you. If you're not willing to put the work in, if you're not willing to go a little bit higher, a little bit further, and understanding that work is good, prosperity is good, success is good, life is good, but these excuses always tend to show up in your life. This thing that you continue to hold on, this pity party that you continue to possess in your life tends to hold you back. But what are you going to do? You're going to have to suffer sometime in your life. You're going to have to feel something sometime in your life. Why is it every time you wake up, you want to have something handed to you? Why can't you earn it yourself? Why do you feel like everybody owes you something? It starts with you. You got to be the one that want it. You got to be the one to go after it. You got to be the one to go further. You got to be the one to hurt just a little bit. So what? Maybe you don't like the situation you're in. Maybe you don't like the circumstances you're in. Then what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? You're going to cry? You're going to wallow around, hope that somebody come rescue you from all of these things that you are dealing with in your life right now? You feel that everybody in the world is feeling sorry for you right now? You feel like everybody in the world owes you something? No one owes you anything. No one. You better start doing something. You better start doing something now. That's how it goes. That's what it is. That's the reality. Not sitting around hoping somebody to come and help you, hoping that somebody gonna put their arms around you and tell you it's gonna be okay. You gotta make it okay. In fact, you gotta make it better than okay. You got to go beyond. You got to go up. You got to go up those stairs. You got to go up that mountain. You got to do whatever it is that's gonna take to make you strong and better and more efficient. That's what you gotta do. Whatever it takes, whatever the know-how you have inside. Don't let nothing, and I mean nothing, stop you. Nothing under the sun can control what's yours. Nothing under the sun can control what's already been written for you. You just got to keep going up. So rise up every step. Rise up every opportunity. Rise up. When it gets higher, you get higher mentally. Rise up. You make it to the top. And when there's nothing else left to go up to, find something else to climb up. And yeah, you're gonna fall. Yeah, you're gonna stumble. Yeah, there's gonna be some mistakes on the way. It doesn't mean that it's over. It means you got to keep living. It means you got to keep going. It means you got to keep believing and find it. And go after it. Because success is not looking for you. Success ain't coming for you. You got to be the one to go after it. Choice is up to you. Make it happen and conduct your business.
A considerable portion of the happenings of life comes to us without any direct choosing on our part. and such happenings are generally regarded as having no relation to our will or character, but as appearing fortuitously, as occurring without a cause. Thus one is spoken of as being lucky and another unlucky, the inference being that each has received something which he never earned, never caused. Deeper thought and a clearer insight into life convinces us, however, that nothing appears without a cause, that cause and effect are always related in perfect adjustment and harmony. That being so, every happening directly affecting us is intimately related to our own will and character, is indeed an effect justly related to a cause having its seat in our consciousness. In a word, involuntary happenings of life are the results of our own thoughts and deeds. This, I admit, is not apparent on the surface, but what fundamental law, even in the physical universe, is so apparent? If thought, investigation, and experiment are necessary to the discovery of the principles which relate one material atom to another, even so are they imperative to the perception and understanding of the mode of action which relate one mental condition to another. And such modes, such laws, are known by the right doer, by him who has acquired an understanding mind by the practice of true actions. We reap as we sow. Those things which come to us, though not by our own choosing, are by our own causing. The drunkard did not choose the delirium tremens or insanity which overtook him, but he caused it by his own deeds. In this case, the law is plain to all minds, but where it is not so plain, it is nonetheless true. Within ourselves is the deep-seated cause of all our sufferings, the spring of all our joys. Alter the inner world of thoughts, and the other world of events will cease to bring you sorrow. Make the heart pure, and to you all things will be pure, all occurrences happy and in true order. Within yourselves deliverance must be sought. Each man his prison makes. Each hath such lordship as the loftiest ones. Nay, for with powers above, around, below, as with all flesh and whatsoever lives, act maketh joy or woe. Our life is good or bad, enslaved or free, according to its causation in our thoughts. For out of these thoughts spring all our deeds, and from these deeds come equitable results. We cannot seize good results violently, like a thief, and claim and enjoy them, but we can bring them to pass by setting in motion the cause within ourselves. Men strive for money, sigh for happiness, and would gladly possess wisdom, yet fail to secure these things, while they see others to whom these blessings appear to come unbidden. The reason is that they have generated causes which prevent the fulfillment of their wishes and efforts. Each life is a perfectly woven network of causes and effects, of efforts or lack of efforts, and results, and good results can only be reached by initiating good efforts, good causes. The doer of true actions, who pursues sound methods, grounded on right principles, will not need to strive and struggle for good results. They will be there as the effects of his righteous rule of life. He will reap the fruit of his own actions, and the reaping will be in gladness and peace. This truth of sowing and reaping in the moral sphere is a simple one, yet men are slow to understand and accept it. We have been told by a wise one that the children of darkness are wiser in their day than the children of light. And who would expect, in the material world, to reap and eat where he had not sown and planted? Or who would expect to reap wheat in the field where he had sown tares, and would fall to weeping and complaining if he did not? Yet this is just what men do in the spiritual field of mind and deed. They do evil and expect to get from it good, and when the bitter harvesting comes in all its ripened fullness, they fall into despair and bemoan the hardness and injustice of their lot, usually attributing it to the evil deeds of others, refusing even to admit the possibility of its cause being hidden in themselves, in their own thoughts and deeds. The children of light, those who are searching for the fundamental principles of right living, with a view to making themselves into wise and happy beings, must train themselves to observe this law of cause and effect in thought, word, and deed, as implicitly and obediently as the gardener obeys the law of sowing and reaping. He does not even question the law. He recognizes and obeys it. When the wisdom which he instinctively practices in his garden is practiced by men in the garden of their minds, when the law of the sowing of deeds is so fully recognized that it can no longer be doubted or questioned, then it will be just as faithfully followed by the sowing of those actions, which will bring about a reaping of happiness and well-being for all. As the children of matter obey the laws of matter, so let the children of spirit obey the laws of spirit. For the law of matter and the law of spirit are one, but they are two aspects of one thing, the outworking of one principle in opposite directions. If we observe right principles or causes, wrong effects cannot possibly accrue. If we pursue sound methods, no shoddy thread can find its way into our web of life. No rotten brick enter into the building of our character to render it insecure. And if we do true actions, what but good results can come to pass? For to say that good causes can produce bad effects is to say that nettles can be reaped from a sowing of corn. He who orders his life along the moral lines thus briefly enunciated will attain to such a state of insight and equilibrium as to render him permanently happy and perennially glad. All his efforts will be seasonally planted. All the issues of his life will be good. And though he may not become a millionaire, as indeed he will have no desire to become such, he will acquire the gift of peace, and true success will wait upon him as its commanding master.
Sometimes life can be challenging. You might be working towards something and focusing on achieving a goal, but hit the dreaded wall where you feel you have nothing left to give and feel like you just want to call it a day. What can you do in these situations to keep on going and keep progressing towards your target? Well, in this video we look at 5 things you can do to keep on going. Number 1. Know your why. The best motivator in life is being able to answer the simple question why, as it's the meaning as to why we do what we do each and every day. Understanding your why is fundamental when embarking on anything challenging in life, because if you don't know it, chances are that you will ultimately succumb to failure. It's in the why that you find purpose and meaning behind the actions you take. The reason you push yourself towards your goal despite everything seemingly against you. You can also flip the question too, as you can ask yourself why you should give up, where you'll often find that I'm answering the question, it's a much more painful road to give up than it is to keep on going when something is important to you. Number 2. Make a schedule. Self-discipline is vital towards achieving success, and one of the best ways to be disciplined and focused when working on something is to schedule your time. Try to plan out what you need to do. Maybe writing a to-do list of critical tasks that you need to do when making progress towards the goal, and then schedule it. Often, this will be scheduling your day by the hour to complete individual tasks, as when you do this, you find that you are much more likely to keep working to take action than if you don't plan your day. So plan your tasks, schedule your day, and make sure, most importantly, stick to it. Number 3. Exercise. This one might not directly impact your progression towards a specific goal, but exercise can actually be highly beneficial towards maintaining a progressive mindset. The reason is that the endorphins produced during exercise help to reduce stress and anxiety and boost your mood significantly, helping to build a positive mindset. In addition to this, exercise helps you relax and therefore sleep better, again reducing the effects of stress and feeling more positive overall. Most interesting is that a 2015 study found that aerobic exercise improves cognitive function, including your ability to learn and retain information. Number 4. Find help. People refer to this in many ways today, as they describe it as finding a mentor to follow or following through with taking a course from experts. The key is, if you're struggling with something and are feeling disheartened, then go out and look for help, whether it be someone who's already done it, or taking actions by finding resources to help you overcome the issue. It's worth remembering, we have possibly the greatest resource of all time at our fingertips, so when you need answers, it's only a button push away. You shouldn't struggle alone, as it's infinitely better to seek out support when you need it than to try and overcome all of the hurdles you face by yourself. Number 5. Be optimistic. Ultimately, when you work towards something, especially when it's out of the norm and isn't something many people do in their lives, it's vital to have hope and optimism. Almost every successful person, whether they be entrepreneurs, entertainers, or another field altogether, have an optimistic outlook in life about what they can achieve. And many who have spoken about their success say that when they were in the grind, it was their faith of succeeding that eventually carried them through, even if at the time they couldn't see it. That's because if you give up, there's no hope to succeed. But if you keep on working, there's always a chance something might happen.
Change the world? Start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed. One is the night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the students on all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters off San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no student has ever been eaten by a shark, at least not that they can remember. But you are also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summons up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. So if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. Over a few weeks of difficult training, my SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew, we called them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the Munchkins put on their tiny little feet prior to every swim. But somehow these little guys, from every corner of the nation and the world, always had the last laugh, swimming faster than everyone and reaching the shore long before the rest of us. SEAL training was a great equalizer. Nothing mattered but your will to succeed, not your color, not your ethnic background, not your education, not your social status. If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not by the size of their flippers. The 9th week of training is referred to as
Following on right principles and methods come true actions. One who is striving to grasp true principles and work with sound methods will soon come to perceive that details of conduct cannot be overlooked, that, indeed, those details are fundamentally distinctive or creative, according to their nature, and are of deep significance and comprehensive importance, and this perception and knowledge of the nature and power of passing actions will gradually open and grow within him as an added vision, a new revelation. As he acquires this insight, his progress will be more rapid, his pathway in life more sure, his days more serene and peaceful. In all things he will go the true and direct way, unswayed and untroubled by the external forces that play around and about him. Not that he will be indifferent to the welfare and happiness of those about him, that is quite another thing, but he will be indifferent to their opinions, to their ignorance, to their ungoverned passions. By true actions, indeed, is meant acting rightly towards others, and the right doer knows that his actions, in accordance with truth, are but for the happiness of those about him, and he will do them even though an occasion may arise when someone near to him may advise or implore him to do otherwise. True actions may easily be distinguished from false by all who wish so to distinguish, in order that they may avoid false action and adopt true. As in the material world we distinguish things by their form, color, size, etc., choosing those things which we require, and putting by those things which are not useful to us, so in the spiritual world of deeds we can distinguish between those that are bad and those that are good by their nature, their aim, and their effect, and can choose and adopt those that are good, and ignore those that are bad. In all forms of progress, avoidance of the bad always precedes acceptance and knowledge of the good. Just as a child at school learns to do its lessons right by having repeatedly pointed out to it how it has done them wrong, if one does not know what is wrong and how to avoid it, how can he know what is right and how to practice it? Bad or untrue, actions are those that spring from a consideration of one's own happiness only, and ignore the happiness of others, that arise in violent disturbances of the mind and unlawful desires, or that call for concealment in order to avoid undesirable complications. Good or true actions are those that spring from a consideration for others, that may arise in calm reason and harmonious thought framed on moral principles, or that will not involve the doer in shameful consequences if brought into the full light of day. The right doer will avoid those acts of personal pleasure and gratification which by their nature bring annoyance, pain, or suffering to others, no matter how insignificant those actions may appear to be. He will begin by putting away these. He will gain a knowledge of the unselfish and true by first sacrificing the selfish and untrue. He will learn not to speak or act in anger, or envy, or resentment, but will study how to control his mind, and will restore it to calmness before acting, and most important of all, he will avoid, as he would the drinking of deadly poison, those acts of trickery, deceit, double-dealing, in order to gain some personal profit of advantage, and which lead, sooner or later, to exposure and shame for the doer of them. If a man is prompted to do a thing which he needs to conceal, and which he would not lawfully and frankly defend if it were examined of witness, he should know by that it is a wrong act, and therefore to be abandoned without a further moment's consideration. The carrying out of this principle of honesty and sincerity of action, too, will further lead him into such a path of thoughtfulness and right doing as will enable him to avoid doing those things which would involve him in the deceptive practices of other people. Before signing papers, or entering into verbal or written agreements, or engaging himself to others in any way at their request, particularly if they be strangers, he will first inquire into the nature of the work or undertaking, and so, enlightened, he will know exactly what to do, and will be fully aware of the import of his action. To the right doer, thoughtlessness is a crime. Thousands of actions done with good intent lead to disastrous consequences because they are acts of thoughtlessness. And it is well said that the way to hell is paved with good intentions. The man of true action is, above all things, thoughtful. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. The term thoughtlessness covers a wide field in the realm of deeds. It is only by increasing in thoughtfulness that a man can come to understand the nature of actions, and can, thereby, acquire the power of always doing that which is right. It is impossible for a man to be thoughtful and act foolishly. Thoughtfulness embraces wisdom. It is not enough that an action is prompted by a good impulse or intention. It must arise in thoughtful consideration, if it is to be a true action. And the man who wishes to be permanently happy in himself, and a power for good to others, must concern himself only with true actions. "I did it with the best of intentions" is a poor excuse from one who has thoughtlessly involved himself in the wrongdoing of others. His bitter experience should teach him to act more thoughtfully in the future. True actions can only spring from a true mind, and therefore while a man is learning to distinguish and choose between the false and the true, he is correcting and perfecting his mind, and is thereby rendering it more harmonious and felicitous, more efficient and powerful. As he acquires the inner eye to clearly distinguish the right in all the details of life, and the faith and knowledge to do it, he will realize that he is building the house of his character and life upon a rock, which the winds of failure and the storms of persecution can never undermine.
Easy is not an option. It's hard living. Life is hard. As you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender. So if it's hard, then do it hard. Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times? Les, you must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That it's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. And people know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard. You gotta love it, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta love it. It's gotta be what you are supposed to do. You do what it is you're supposed to. You're supposed to build something. You're supposed to create something. I don't know how to do it. Learn. Do whatever is required. Just go out there. It's possible you can get what you want. It's necessary. If you want it, you got to go into action. You got to be willing to experiment. You got to be willing to fail and to succeed. You got to be willing to form and develop new relationships. It's you, it's on you. You got to make that happen. Nobody's going to bring it to you on a silver platter and say, here's your dream manifested. No, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. It's difficult. Yes, right. And it's worth it. For us to begin to look at the future and know that it's possible that we can have our dream. Yes, it is. Other people have done it, then we can do it. We fail a lot of times. Well, a lot of other folks fail, and eventually they came back and they succeeded. So it's possible we can have what we want. And we know that we want to get it. It's necessary that we align ourselves with people that think like we do. It's necessary we get negative, do-nothing people out of our lives. It's necessary we never stop learning and growing and developing ourselves. It's necessary that we never give up. We know that it's you, it's me. It's being responsible for our stuff and deciding that we're going to keep on keeping on, that we're going to find a way to win or find a way to make it happen. And we know it's hard. It's not going to be a picnic. Yes, it's hard. It's hard. And we will do it hard. And once we do it hard and we go through it, we realize it was worth it. And once you discover it was worth it, it is done. Well, here's what I'm suggesting to you. That when you're working, you have a wall to break through. And we've all had experiences where we were working on something and we knew it was possible. And we did those things that were necessary to bring it into reality. We took the responsibility to make it happen. Other people couldn't see it. A lot of people didn't believe it. You were attacked. You were criticized. People were opposing you, but you kept on doing it. It was hard. It was rough. It was difficult. But to you, it was worth it. And eventually you got to a level you know, can nothing stop me now. I'm on the move.
Take ownership for your life. Nobody can live your dream for you but you. Nobody's going to take care of your business like you. Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full. I like the saying, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. The reason you're here is because there's something in you that says, I can do more. This just can't be it. There's something in you. There's a calling on your life. Because there's something in you that tells you this is not it for you. You have not peaked here. There's more in you that you are expressing. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what's in store for you if you challenge yourself, if you persist and persevere, if you take ownership for your life. Create what you want. You have the power in you to do more than you can ever begin to imagine, to control your destiny, to make a difference in our children, to make a difference on the planet, to make an impact.
While other people are giving up, feeling like victims, feeling powerless, becoming negative, turning on each other rather than to each other, feeling that they can't make it. Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind with the mindset of that it's possible that we can save this generation. It's possible that we can create new industries, a new economy. It's possible that I can find a new profession, a new job. It's possible I can create a new life. And it's necessary that I become actively involved in becoming a positive force in my life and on the planet. And it's me, yes, it's you, it's all of us, pulling together, working together to create this brand new future. And it's going to be hard. Easy is not an option. But if it's hard, we will do it hard. Whatever is required to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. And it's worth it, yes. It's worth whatever we have to do. And once we know that, it is done. It is done.